To discuss the significance of Democracy Day while looking at free, fair and inclusive elections in a democratic system, I'm joined by President, ready to lead Africa, God bless Otubore, and public affairs analyst Joshua Olufemi. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the news. All right, I'll start with you, God bless. President Tinubu marked the anniversary with a compelling address, some would say, on Democracy Day. He would, of course, he had a lot to say. How would you rate the electoral system since 1999?
Well, if we have a yardstick that we're using to measure that, if you had a preset measurement scale, and you say out of a 10, what would I say? We're not where we want to be, definitely. Elections have not been very, very transparent, in our realities in Nigeria. So it is important to sort of put it in perspective that we have not conducted elections the best way possible. So out of a 10, I'd say we are currently hovering around a 3, and there's still a long way to go.
All right, Joshua, let's come to you. What significance does June 12 hold for Nigerians, and how has it evolved over time? As briefly as you can, please.
Right. I mean, if you look at it from basic, how do I say it? Basic, measures or indicators. You want to look at things like the, governance, corruption, economic, and of course, social inclusion. And across these 4, if you like, yardsticks, you would see that there's been an improvement, one way or the other from what we used to have during the military era. For instance, inequality has reduced over time, even though we've had the worst of it under the Buhari administration, or you had the best of the reduction in inequality under Obasanjo, followed by Yar'Adua. It's more or less like it's declining inequality, declining the reduction, but there is been reduction altogether. And if you also look at it economically, also you can as well tell that there is increase in all the infrastructural development and the rest of them. However, the impact or outcome on citizens has also been declining. If you look at it, over since the Obasanjo era all the way down. So you've been seeing improvement if you compare the 25 years that we've had, with the military era. However, you would then see that all of this improvement have actually been declining over time.
God bless. How can we, as quickly as you can, I think this question will go for the both of you. How can electoral systems be designed to ensure the representation of minority groups and marginalized communities? Because it seems, some people say, as much as the democracy seems to have evolved, there is still heavy manipulation and imposition.
I mean, that is true. That's why I was brutal with my assessment, and I said my assessment is that we're on 3, and people will say, "Oh no, come on, man! We still do elections. You were at the forefront of electoral reforms. Now we're doing this technology, this BVAS, and all of that." And I would say, look, the very premise, the basic principle upon which democracy is built is the integrity of the electoral process. If people cannot choose who their leaders are, then you do not have a democracy. And again, let me say this, a country where it is accepted that people can read their way to power, that is not a democracy. That is a setup of a group of people that is headed onto chaos and collusion. So marginalized groups, or we are all marginalized groups. It baffles me that we're still running a democracy where we have election umpires writing and filling election result sheets before the election even takes place. It is still happening in 2024. That is irresponsible. So at the end of the day, you cannot have a system that tolerates this kind of anomaly and say, oh, we're making some progress. I know what we want as a country, but I also now know what we do not want.
I think you should take it up from there, Joshua, and just talk to us about how we can have more inclusive participation in our elections, especially from marginalized communities.
I guess it's to look at all the instruments for inclusion. How do you get people to participate? How do you get them to, freely and fairly vote on the day of elections and ensure that there is, justice for, every party who feels, that the electoral process didn't go the way it should go. And if you look at it very well, the constitution of the country seems to be something that all the, big parties, if you like, always explore to manipulate, or if you like, tamper with the electoral process to, every form of gerrymandering, every form of, even when technology is used, you ensure that the technology is not something that is constitutionally binding. Even when you do constitutional review of the Electoral Act, you also ensure that there is discretion in terms of how the technology will be used. So it's how well we are able to improve on, our amendment processes of the Constitution to be able to allow us to, to be able to seek, justice or, demand. To seek redress, if you like, because you would always have globally, you will always see the cases where, political parties seeking power will always want to manipulate one way or the other. However, what has helped, advance democracies is that you can seek redress and you can get some form of justice or, a fair hearing at the law court. I think, and I'll continue to say it, looking at where we're coming from, that it is not all, doom, right? If we work on the judicial, system or the procedures that, allow for democratic principles and norms to thrive, if we are able to ensure that the judicial system, is functional, that the interpretation of the Constitution is fair, if you also ensure that the Constitution itself is viable to withstand every form of manipulation.
Okay, I'm sorry I have to interrupt again. In the interest of time, quickly, the mantra in 1993, God bless, this is for you. The mantra in 1993 was hope. Today we have a renewed hope. I want to ask, has democracy, in your view, delivered the hope that we've been hearing about for so long? And as quickly as you can, your message to Nigerians on this day.
Well, the kind of practitioners that have led our democracy over the last couple of years have not allowed it to deliver the kind of hope that we believe that democracy can deliver. My message to Nigerians is, nevertheless, on a positive note, remember, Nigerians, that democracy is not a 100-meter race. It's not a marathon. It is a way of life. The hands of democracy continues to bend towards justice. It is the work of generations and generations until we arrive at a point where we can look back and say we have sacrificed and we have worked and we are free. Nigerians continue to work, continue to hold government accountable, and let us be clear as touching what we do not want. We do not want a tribalized Nigeria. We do not want a Nigeria where people rig elections. We do not want a Nigeria where politicians would come into office and amass wealth that they do not earn. That is the Nigeria we do not want. That is the democracy we do not want. The one that we want is the one that organizes and recognizes every Nigerian child, quality education, and ensures that the Nigerian citizen is at the core of every decision that will be made moving forward.
All right, Joshua, your quick thought on that in 30 seconds, if you can.
I guess it's to say that there isn't, the hope we want is not the hope we have as much as possible. And I mean, we need to ensure that all the, systems of, civil society, the media, and all the other policy and practice promotion institutions strive. And of course, we continue to seek the best. Like the last speaker said, it's a lifestyle, it's a way of life, and we need to continue to try everything that the Constitution allows us to do, even if it is to upturn the Constitution itself, to give us the kind of hope that we want in a democracy. But I think I will still say that it's still the best form of government you can always ask for.
The saying is, as long as there is life, there is hope. Thank you, gentlemen, for speaking with us.
Thank you so much for having me, and happy
Thank you so
Democracy
much
Day.
for having me.